Premier Traveller said, love you, Craig, but there's always a but, dude, isn't there? There's always a but. But I've an issue with you made on the podcast about Slot not being taken into the hearts of Liverpool fan. Despite following iconic Klopp last season, he connected with the fans in stadium. So all I can tell you is my version of these things, right? And I'm not saying I'm always right, mate. But I do know a lot of season ticket holders. And of course there was a connection when he won the league last year. Any manager that wins the league is going to get rightly lauded. But this season, from what I'm hearing and what the people I'm speaking to, there isn't a connection with Arne in the same way. Now, Liverpool fans will always support the manager and will always sing his name, same way they sang Darwin's and everybody before. But all I can say to you is that's the information I have, and the people I know that are season ticket holders that go week in and week out, home and away, none of them really feel like the manager is connected to the fans. Like I said, just my view, and I respect your take on it as well, mate. And never feel afraid to call me out on stuff like that. The way you've done it's absolutely fine, mate. You know, if you disagree with something I said, I've no problem, having a little debate with you about it. I fully respect the way you went about it. So, yeah, no issues, dude. No issues. Said nothing Slot has done so far shows any evidence of his ability to be able to make things better. I don't have faith he can do it until I see a consistent run of wins. A win here or there is not good enough. Of course, yeah. Consistency, that's more than reasonable to expect. Kelly, how are you, Kelly? Kelly Ian said, I'm actually Arne in. I really believe there has been too much change in the dressing room and it would be a challenge for any manager. Just bringing in a new manager further disrupts the dressing room. I understand that as well. But my counter to that argument would be other teams like Sunderland have brought in far more players, but they look far better coached. So there has been change behind the scenes, of course. There definitely has been. But it's not like we brought in a bunch of bang average footballers. We brought in hugely talented players, and none of them are shining yet. Maybe Ugo Ekitike aside. So I find it really hard to see a team come up from the Championship, sign 14 new players, and come to Anfield and be lucky not to have won the game, be unlucky not to have won the game. There's no talk of them having too many changes or, too much upheaval behind the scenes. And the only thing I can say because of that is because they're better coached and the manager's been able to inspire the players. And Arne just doesn't seem a very inspiring sort to me. And I think, it's understandable, and I fully appreciate that there are extenuating circumstances and you're trying to think the best of the manager. I just respectfully would disagree with the too much change. There's been change, yes. But if you look at a lot of the teams that we've put out, outside of the striker situation, we've normally had, a fairly consistent lineup in midfield of players who've been here before. Come on, Sunderland don't expect to win anything and we're full of expectation. What's that got to do with the point I was making? The point was that we've had too many changes. And I was showing that a good coach can negate some of the change. So I didn't say Sunderland are going to win the league. I didn't say Sunderland are going to be better than us. I'm counteracting that there are managers out there who can transition with new players. Like, I find it really difficult to sit here and feel sorry for Arne, having got Isak, Ekitike, Wirtz, Kirkes, Frimpong. He should be able to get these players playing football. And that's the black and white of it for me. And one question somebody asked me, is there any players that Arne has really improved since he's come to the club? Gravenberch, to some extent, he's reinvented him. But outside of that, I've not really seen many improvements from players. Soboslai's improved, but I think that's because he settled into the team. I don't know. I just don't feel as confident in Arne's ability. Curtis Jones, yes, fair enough. Again, though, no, to be fair, Curtis Jones is fair. Keane said, transition is dropping 5-10 more points than usual, not 10th in the league level of drop off. Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of my point here. We've upgraded on a lot of players, and the big crime is not replacing somebody on the left side of attack. You know, that's a huge headache for me, that we don't have anybody on the left when Gakpo's underperforming as a natural forward that he's willing to play. And his treatment of Chiesa, again, baffles me. And I keep coming back to the same thing about him undermining his own squad depth by ignoring players. I'm the Oyster King, so I don't think Slot's had the time to be declared anything. Inspiring or not, he's won the league and hasn't been sacked yet. Yeah. Look, again, all very fair points. He destroyed the collective unity, agree or not. Who destroyed the collective unity? Because honestly, I wouldn't say there was a collective unity at Liverpool before Salah spoke out, but it certainly made it worse. That I'd give you 100%. Said, why couldn't he have spoken up after the matches he started and which we lost? That's what I struggle with. I can say I love Mo and he has a huge ego. Yeah, as many people have said, two things can be right at once. I love Mo, but he has a massive ego, and he has caused the club problems over the years as well as many positives. But here's the part that I really don't get in all of it. Why just not knock on the manager's door? You know, if you're not happy, it's always best to deal with something like that in private. And if you're going to the media with it, it's calculated and it's not in the best interest of the club. So that I don't get. Like, if I'm in work and, you know, I'm not liking the shifts I'm getting, or, you know, I think I'm being given the shitty work, I'm not going to the manager's door and say, look, sir, or look, madam, I think this needs to happen. I think I'm being thrown under the bus here. I wouldn't stand in the cafeteria and shout it at the top of my lungs. So it definitely does feel a little bit snidey. It does. How's what Salah said any different to what Vinny done a few weeks ago, yelling at Alonso? I didn't hear such an uproar about Vinny. I mean this respectfully, but I couldn't give a fuck about Real Madrid or Vinicius Jr. And if you've ever heard me talk about Vinicius Jr., I'd be absolutely rinsing him because he's a diva. So I don't understand how this is any of our concern. I don't follow the media around Madrid and Vinicius Jr., so I've got no idea how that situation was covered in Spain. But we're talking about the Premier League and English coverage of it. And Vinicius Jr.'s a little diva. I mean, everybody will tell you that.